evening, good morning, good afternoon, welcome back to my channel. My name's Cashel and every week I try my absolute best to educate you on a true crime case that hopefully you've never heard of. So last week was Elliot Rodger. How did you find that? It is a horrible one and I think it is interesting, and I think it is one that more people should be aware of just because of how things are today. It's a very tough watch and it is exceptionally haunting, especially kind of the way that I've done it with putting the clips in. I think you don't really realise how scary this person is or was until you hear it from his own mouth, and that is truly haunting. I don't think I have any more housekeeping for today. I will be accepting, please someone give me some suggestions for cases. I have got like a little pile here, but you know when you just write something and you're not mad on it? Like, I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. There's none that I've found recently that I've been really excited to cover, and that's what I want. So, we'll see. I do have two that I'm excited to cover, but they are thick. Like, they probably don't even look that thick, but that is just two. That's thick for two. But I hope everyone's had a fabulous week. Today, I'm going to be covering the case that you probably might have possibly heard of. And you'll probably know it as the Power Ranger murder. I don't believe I have any trigger warnings for today's case, but content warning, as always, strong language. November 15th, 2004, Tom and Jackie Hawkes were taking out potential buyers to see their 55-foot yacht called the Well Deserved. Tom was 57 years old and he was a retired probation worker, and his wife Jackie was a stay-at-home mum to their two sons. For the past 2 years, the couple have been living on the yacht and sailing around the Pacific from their home in California. The couple first met in 1986, and as cliche as it sounds, it was love at first sight. Tom was a bodybuilder and Jackie was a massive fitness buff, so they had this instant share in common interest, and they both had a love for sailing. They were a match made in heaven and they got married in 1989. The pair saved hard throughout their life so they could eventually go on to buy their own boat that they could live on and travel in. I'm so sorry if you can hear that noise, that's my dog. However, by 2004, the couple had their first grandchild, so they wanted to be on land more. They wanted to support their son's family and spend time with their grandchild. Jackie absolutely loved children, and unfortunately she didn't have any of her own. She was unable to have children of her own, so she took on Tom's two sons from a previous marriage. And she was absolutely ecstatic, over the moon to become a grandparent. So the pair of them were both super excited to start this new chapter of their lives with their family in Arizona. Tom and Jackie ended up putting an ad in Yacht World magazine because they wanted to sell it privately themselves. So apparently the way selling a yacht works, I'm assuming it's kind of like a car, is that you respond to the ad, you go and have a look around it, you take it on a test drive, and then you decide if you want it or not, which is just like a car. So the yacht had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 decks, and a galley, and it was up for sale for $435,000. Not long after posting the ad, they got a response from a couple who were interested in a sea trial to see the boat. And this was Skylar and Jennifer Deleon. On November 12th, Tom and Jackie took all their friends and family out on kind of one last hurrah with the yacht before it was sold, and they used this time to just celebrate it being sold, their new lives starting, and just to reminisce on all the memories and great times that they'd had on the yacht. I keep switching between yacht and boat, but you know what I mean. 3 days after this, the sea trial was set, and Skylar turns up with not his wife as expected, but with 2 friends. So a little background information on Skylar. So he was a child actor. He had a very overbearing dad who kind of pushed him into showbiz. And in 1993 to 1994, he was in Power Rangers. I don't know which Power Ranger he was, but he was a Power Ranger. And this was the only real claim to fame that he had. Other than that, he was in kind of like an odd advert here and there. When he was 20, he joined the Marines, but went AWOL after just 15 days. The 2 people that Skylar had shown up with were John Kennedy and Alonzo McKinney. I don't know if I'm saying that right. John had previously been in a gang and had been in prison for attempted murder. He was hired by Skylar just a few hours before going to see the yacht as kind of like a big, scary, muscly guy, and he was to pose as his accountant. Alonzo was a guard for the jail, and he'd met Skylar whilst he was in the jail for burglary. So it was really a trio of dreams, just the kind of people you'd want on your boat. Sensing the couple's reaction to the 3 of them, they put on this mad performance of like wit and charm to kind of ease them because they were clearly uncomfortable. Jennifer, Skylar's wife, did join them on the yacht, and with their 3-year-old daughter. So this did relax the couple quite a bit. But Jennifer didn't go out on them for the sea trial because she was heavily pregnant and she said that she didn't feel very well. As they were heading out, Alonzo stayed with Jackie whilst Tom showed Skylar and John around the deck. And this is where the two of them jumped Tom, and it took the pair of them and a taser to overpower him to get him into handcuffs. Jackie obviously heard this or saw this and started trying to help her husband, but Alonzo was a hell of a big guy, so he quickly overpowered her and put her in handcuffs as well. The pair of them were thrown onto the bed, still handcuffed, and they now had their eyes and their mouths taped over, which must have been absolutely terrifying. They were back to back, and Tom managed to find Jackie's hand and was kind of like stroking her hand, trying to comfort her as much as he possibly could. One at a time, they were both led upstairs and forced to sign over the deed of the boat and power of attorney, giving Skylar and Jennifer control of all their money and assets. When Jackie signed this, she deliberately left the S off the end of her last name to try and give investigators a clue that this was not done voluntarily. Skylar then grabbed the anchor and forced the pair of them to the back of the boat. Jackie was distraught. She was screaming. She was saying, "We trusted you. We met your wife. We met your daughter. Why are you doing this?" She was begging all of them just to let them go, saying that she just wanted to be with her grandson. It's just awful. Jackie was absolutely terrified. She was shaking. She was crying. And Tom said to her, "It's okay. No matter what happens, we'll be together." Skylar then handcuffed both of them to the chain of the anchor, and whilst this was happening, Tom kicked Skylar and he fell to the floor. And in retaliation to this, John then punched Tom and knocked him out. And immediately after this, they let go of the anchor. This, of course, sent Tom and Jackie straight into the bottom of the ocean, and their bodies have never been recovered. Oh my God, it's just, what a horrible, horrible way to go. Skylar then returned the boat back to the dock, and Jennifer was obviously waiting there for them, and she was not at all surprised that they returned without Tom and Jackie. And that is because this whole thing was plotted by Skylar and Jennifer. Skylar was ringing Jennifer whilst she was on board, giving her constant updates as to what was going on and how it was going. The couple had always wanted to be rich. They were currently living in Jennifer's parents' garage with their daughter, and Jennifer was working as a hairdresser and Skylar didn't work to look after the baby. The pair of them were around $100,000 in debt, but I'm sorry, that's no one else's problem but your own. It's awful and must be horrible and really hard, but that is your problem and that is your fault. Like, it's no one else's responsibility to kind of get you out of that, and you definitely killing poor innocent people for... Skylar again wanted to be rich, and because his acting career hadn't taken off, it was kind of, this was his idea as to how to get money. And he also needed money because he wanted a sex change, and he had put a down payment on surgery. So this had just sunk them even further into debt. And it was after this that the pair of them came up with this horrendous plan. Like, how do you even get there? How do you even think of that? I don't know. Now, Tom and Jackie's family were used to not hearing from them for a few days because they would go out on the boat, there wouldn't be very good signal, things like that. But this time they did start to worry after a few days. Something just felt different and they were concerned. Tom's older brother was a former police chief in California, and he knew something was very wrong because he went to see the boat. It was not docked correctly, their car was missing, and the boat had been left in quite a bit of disarray, which is not how they lived, it's not how they kept things. So he knew something was very wrong. He ended up leaving his card on the boat saying, "Call me, just want to know kind of what's going on." And the next day he got a call from Jennifer saying that they'd paid cash for the boat and they'd not heard from Tom or Jackie since. But the money had obviously never been deposited into Tom and Jackie's account, and there'd been no activity on the account at all since the 15th. When they started to dig into Jennifer and Skylar a little bit more, because they were obviously the last people that would have seen them, they looked into their accounts and they saw that they were up to their eyeballs in debt. So they knew that there was no way they would have been able to afford to purchase this nearly $500,000 boat. Jennifer was making out she was really concerned about where Tom and Jackie were, and that she'd been trying to make contact with them because they still had their possessions on the boat. She was playing the role of being really alarmed and, "Oh my God, I just hope they're okay. Let me know if you hear anything, bitch." Jennifer's dad was caught on CCTV at Target buying cleaning goods like bin bags, bleach, wipes and stomach medication. Don't know if that's relevant. Skylar told the police that he'd used money that he'd accumulated from selling drugs, and he had cash that he gave to Tom and Jackie in the car park in a briefcase, and then they drove off into the sunset, never to be seen again. That was his story. But Jennifer and Skylar was caught on CCTV around 3 weeks later withdrawing money from the couple's account, because obviously they had power of attorney, so technically that's okay, but it's not. A month later, the family is getting increasingly concerned and pissed off because they want to know what the hell was going on. And the couple's car was eventually found. It was found in a nearby trailer park, and the person that had kind of taken ownership of this car was questioned, and they said that they were given the car by Skylar and Jennifer. December 17th, 2004, Skylar was arrested for money laundering because he had obviously confessed that he had accumulated all this money to pay for the yacht by drug money. And with this, they got to search their home, and when they searched their home, they found cameras and laptops that belonged to Jackie and Tom. But they still didn't have enough evidence to charge either Jennifer or Skylar with the murders, because there just wasn't enough yet. So they offered Jennifer immunity if she would testify against Skylar. She didn't do this, but the first person to break was the notary, and her name was Kathleen Harris. She was the notary, so she was the reason that the documents looked so legit. She was paid to backdate the paperwork, and then when police looked into the paperwork, they realised that an S was missing from Jackie's name and had been added on after, so this was just the evidence that they needed. They questioned Alonzo and gave him this information that they found, and he broke. He told the police exactly what happened, and all of the 4 people involved were found guilty. Alonzo was given 20 years, Jennifer got life without parole, John Kennedy and Skylar both got the death penalty. Skylar somehow did get the finance to get a sex change whilst in prison, I believe. In 2009, they tried to remove their penis themselves. They were given hormones in 2019 and officially changed their gender. They're now asking to be moved to a female prison because they get on with females a lot better. But at the moment, they are still in San Quentin. Cases like this, that I think when you are given the death penalty, you should have to suffer the way your victims suffered. Because that is just the most terrifying thing. I can't think of many worse ways to go, because I don't even need to explain it. You know why. That's just fucking awful, and all for a yacht. Like, people just don't think these things through. Did they really think you were going to get away with that? Like, oh, that was horrible, wasn't it? It was a quick one though. But yeah, that is today's case all done. I need a positive thought. Positive thought at the moment is that I'm going to wireless. I'm not happy with wireless at the moment. I might be tomorrow when the lineup finally fucking drops. Who drops a lineup on the Monday when it starts on the Friday? Like, are you having a fucking giggle? They've really pissed me off this year, and I was convinced it weren't happening. I was convinced they'd blown all their budget on Drake, which we'll find out tomorrow if they have, because the whole thing's just been incredibly fucking stressful. So it might be a positive thought, it might not. It might have changed by the time this video comes out. But that is all from me today. I will either be back next week with the corn rake murder, which is like a pipe through the windshield, or the scuba diving murder. So we'll have one of them next week. But until then, make good choices, be fucking wary of people. If you're in debt, that's your own fault. Find a legal way to sort that out. Don't kill anyone. I shouldn't have to say that. Don't get murdered. I'll see you next week. Love you, bye.
No, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Yes.
Got hella rocks in my safe, gas stars in my race. I got stripper hoes, snort and blow.
I'm so delusional. I think I will look like this person if I have that mirror. All I've got is the sound of my own voice. That's horrible, isn't it, Hector? I hope you can't tell I'm not wearing a bra. Well, if you can, I'm not putting one on. No, been around the South Pacific. Is that right? No, just Pacific. Their life, so they'd travel in their boat. Sorry, Hector. Did in a sea trial to see the boat. I'm not sure what for though.
What's the issue, doll?
That's a lie. Oh my god, shut up.
I'm bothered. What is wrong with me?
Staying at
What are you doing?
I need to stop saying
I had a concussion. Like, fuck off. Still no response.
I actually hate these men. Cool and hands up.